talking now of summer evenings in Knoxville, Tennessee. The time that I lived there, so successfully disguised to myself as a child. Supper was at 6. It was over by past. There was still daylight, shining softly with a tarnish, like the lining of a shell. And the carven lamps, lifted at the corners, were on in the light, and the locusts were started, and the fireflies were out, and a few frogs were flopping in the dewy grass by the time the fathers and the children came out. The children ran out first, hell-bent, yelling those names by which they were then known. The fathers sank out, leisurely, in cross suspenders, their collars removed, and their necks looking tall and shy. Now, the mothers stayed back in the kitchen, washing and drying, putting things away, recrossing their traceless footsteps like the lifetime journeys of bees, measuring out the dry cocoa for breakfast. When they came out, they had taken off their aprons, and their skirts were dampened, and they sat in rockers on their porches quietly. It's become that time of evening when people sit on their porches, rocking gently, talking gently, watching the street. People go by, things go by. A horse drawing a buggy, breaking its hollow iron music on the asphalt. A loud auto, a quiet auto. People in pairs, not in a hurry, scuffling, talking casually. A taste hovering over them of vanilla, strawberry, pasteboard, starched milk. A streetcar raising its iron moan, stopping, belling, starting. Starterous, rousing and raising again its iron increasing moan, and swimming its gold windows in straw mats on past and past and past. The bleak spark crackling and cursing above it like a small malignant spirit set the dog its tracks. Iron wine rises on rising speed, still risen, faints, halts. A faint stinging bell rises again, still fainter, fainting, lifting, lifts, faints, forgone, forgotten. Now is the night, one blue dew. On the rough, wet grass of the backyard, my father and mother have spread quilts. We all lie there. My mother, my father, and I too am lying there. First we were sitting up, and one of us lay down, and we all lay down, on our stomachs, or on our sides, or on our backs. They've kept on talking. They're not talking much. The talk is quiet. Nothing in particular, nothing at all. After a little, I am taken in and put to bed. Sleep, soft smiling, draws me onto her. Those receive me, who quietly treat me, as one familiar and well beloved in that home. Will not, oh, will not. Not now, not ever, will not ever tell me who I am.
Gee, you wouldn't have asked you if you knew already, would he? I Shelley, it's not. There's some colored people who take it, but that's perfectly all right. Nothing for them to be ashamed of, or for white people to be ashamed of who take it. It's a fine old name.
How can it be a fine old name when everybody laughs at it?
Rufus was your mama's grandfather's name. Your great-grandfather. It was given you for that reason, and it's a name to be proud of.
Will not. Oh, will not. Not now, not ever. Will not ever tell me who I am. I'd hoped that I might make poetry out of this. Desire to restore, to make a little less impermanent such of my lost life as I can. Beginning with the beginning. There are those who come within living memory. My mother's father's father, whom she revered and of whom she has told me. I think well of him and was burdened by his name, but I never knew him. I doubt I shall have occasion to tell my children of him. With this generation, he vanishes from the memory of the living race. Only the exceptionally good or able or evil survive in memory longer. This is chiefly a remembrance of my childhood and a memorial to my father. I find that I value my childhood and my father as they were. I can remember and represent what he was as I had known him, what I was as I had known myself, what I have seen with mine own eyes, what I have supposed with mine own mind. If I can make this journey with sufficient courage and care, very likely that will be near the answers I can ever hope to get.
You want to try one last time before you go to bed? All right, you try your best. If you feel you have to go in the night, you just rush out of bed and use the powder. You don't wait one single minute.
Now, Mary, it gets to be a time when a boy's bladder's his own responsibility. Besides, Rufus has been doing a good job lately, haven't you, Rufus?
Oh, I know you have, darling. Mama's just reminded. Now, we'll be on the porch with Hannah and Andrew if you need us. Good night, my love.
Good night, Champ.
I heard the summer night, chain of a porch swing, a rocking chair, exhausted screaming of locusts. I heard the voices of men and women that were familiar to me, listening at the heart of the proud bell of darkness. I lay in perfect peace.
Gentle, gentle dark, gentlest, gentlest night, my darkness, my dear darkness.
Hear my father. I need never fear. I hear my mother. I shall never be lonely or want for love. When I am hungry, it is they who provide for me. When I am in dismay, it is they who fill me with comfort. When I am astonished or bewildered, it is they who make the weak ground firm beneath my soul. It is in them that I put my trust. When I am sick, it is they who send for the doctor. When I am well and happy, it is in their eyes that I know best that I am loved. And it is toward the shining of their smiles that I lift up my heart. And in their laughter, I know my best alike. I hear my mother and my father. They are my giants, my queen and my king, beside whom there are no others so wise or worthy or honorable or brave or beautiful in this world. I need never never fear, nor ever lack for loving kindness.
Gentle, gentle dark, gentlest, gentlest night, my darkness, my dear darkness.
Before long now, the house will become almost silent. Before long, darkness will take my mother and my father and bring them, even as I have been brought, to bed and to sleep. Under your sheltering, great sheltering darkness. And all through that silence, you walk as if none but you had ever breathed, had ever dreamed, had ever been. My darkness. Are you lonely? You need never fear, or ever be lonely, or want for love. Tell me your secrets. You can trust me. Come near. Come very near. Darkness indeed came near. It buried its eye against the eye of mine own soul. Saying, had ever breathed, had ever dreamed, had ever been. In the corner, not quite possible to detach from the darkness. A creature increased, which watched me. Darkness said, you hear the man you call your father. How can you ever fear? Under the washstand, carefully, something moved. Darkness said, you hear the woman who thinks you are her child. The curtain sighed. Its powers unspeakable passed through it. And darkness, smiling, leaned ever more intimately inward toward me and laid open the huge, ragged mouth.
You get the telephone, I'll go to the...
No, no, he hollered for me. I'll see to him.
Hello?
Now, what's the matter?
Papa? Yes, sir, you still here?
Well, what's the trouble with my little boy?
Yes, but then start down soon.
What's the trouble? Oh, what's he crying about? Yeah. Blow. Come on, blow. You know your mama don't like you to swallow that stuff. Come on. Now, what's wrong? What's the trouble? Bad dream? Then what's the trouble? Fear? Afraid of the dark? No. You're too big to cry. Big boy now. You're a big boy. Big boys don't get scared of the little dark. Big boys don't cry. Well, where's the dark that's scared? Under here? Well, there ain't nothing there that oughtn't to be. What's it over here? Well, there's nothing here but an old piece of baby soap, see? Any place else? Why? There's poor old Jackie. Well, you want Jackie? You don't want poor old Jackie? So lonesome, laying back there in the corner all this time. Are you getting too big for Jackie? And you're getting too big to cry. Yeah, well, poor old Jackie. So lonesome. Come on, you getting sleepy now? Huh? Well, time you did. Time we all got to sleep. You're not scared anymore, are you now? Boogeyman all gone, all scared away, huh? Well, you sleep, son. lonesome. Just like old Jackie. You just don't want to be left alone. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll sing you one song, and then you be a good boy and you go to sleep. Can you do that? Come on, scoot over. Now, what do we sing?
Sing gal.
It ain't Gal and Google Eyes, it's Gal and you know your mama don't like that song.
Sing gal, and sing Google.
Well, them's not sleeping songs. Well, all right, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll sing real quiet so she can't hear us. I got a gal and a sugar babe too. One's got green eyes, one's got blue. Danced with my babe with a hole in her stocking. We danced all night till I rock come a knocking. I got a gal and she's my bride. Got me a sugar babe on the side. Sugar gets gone on a belly full of liquor. My wife, she's quick, but sugar babe's quicker. Oh, son, your mama hear me singing that, she had me sleeping on the floor. Barney Goo-Goo with the googly eyes. Barney Goo-Goo had a wife 3 times his size. She sued Barney for divorce. Now he's living on his horse. Barney Goo-Goo with googly eyes. Now you getting sleepy? Come on, sleep, son. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I looked over Jordan, and what did I? It's a beautiful wagon. You have to ride in it because home is too far to walk. That's right, son. Now you sleep.
Before my time, before I was even dreamed of in this world, he lay in the hand of his mother and his father, lay in their childhood under other hands, way on back through the mountains, way on back through the years. Takes you right on back as far as you can ever imagine. Right on back to Adam. Only no one could do it for him. Maybe did God. How far we all come. How far we all come away from ourselves. So far, so much between. You can never go home again. You can't
Go home. It's good to go home, but you can never really get all the way home in your life. And what's it all for? All I ever tried to be. All I ever wanted and went away for. What's it all for?
Don't you fret, Jay. Don't you fret.
You know, Mary, there is a way you can get home. You have a little boy or girl of your own, and every now and then you remember. And you know how they feel. It's almost as if you were your own self again. As young as you can remember.
knows, Jay. God knows you're thankful.
You come to join in the singing?
I heard you. He likes it best when you sing.
He'd say that.
He didn't, but I can tell. I have a church choir voice, but I can't sing old-timey like you and your mother and your Aunt Sadie.
Does he remember that day?
He does. I think it made a deep impression on him.
Well, he's asleep. I reckon it's later, not here.
Well, Andrew and Hannah had to go. They said to tell you good night. It's all right, Jay. He's sound asleep.
Gee, I hate not to see them. Is it that late?
Well, you were in here an hour, nearly so. What was the matter with him?
Bad dream, I reckon. Scared of the dark. Well, look what I found.
Gracious sake. Where was it?
Back in the corner under the crib.
Oh, shame on me. Oh, but Jay, it must be awfully dirty.
No, I dusted it off.
Oh, I'll be glad when I can stoop again.
Well, so will I.
Jay?
Honey, I'm just talking about the baby. I'll be glad when the baby's here.
Oh, so will I, Jay, darling. So will I.
He wore hard coats and a hard celluloid collar, and sometimes a vest with hard buttons. Mostly his clothes were scratchy, too, except for the striped shirts and the shirts with the dots and diamonds on them. Not as scratchy as his cheeks. His cheeks were warm and cool at the same time. And they scratched a little even when he had just shaved. It always tickled on his cheek, or still more on his neck. Sometimes hurt a little, too. But it was always fun because he was so strong. At night, after supper, he would say, "Suppose we go to the picture shows." And then we would walk downtown in the light of mother of pearl, majestic, and find our way to our seats by the light of the screen. He laughed, and I laughed too at the majestic. There, in the exhilarating smell of stale tobacco, rank sweat, perfume, and dirty drawers, at William S. Hart and his girl and his horse, and most of all, at Charlie.
Does Charlie have anybody to cook for him?
Well, I imagine he has a wife that does the cooking, like your mama does for you and me.
Then why was he eating his soup for supper?
That? Oh, Rufus, that's just part of the picture show.
Charlie doesn't have any friends. Everybody laughs at Charlie.
I reckon this is where we came in. Come on up here. Let's head out of here, partner. Come on.
I wish we could have stayed and saw Charlie again. I like it better. Can we see the picture show again?
Well, I reckon once is plenty.
Charlie carries a cane and has a mustache.
Well, I had a mustache once, too.
But Mama didn't like it.
Well, tickled her nose when I kissed her. Rufus, I know it's late and getting close to your bedtime, but I reckon we'll walk home instead of taking the streetcar. Your mama be mad as a heart.
His hands were so big. There were big blue strings on his skin, or under the skin, on the backs of him. Veins, those were. There was so much hair on the wrists. Big veins in his arms like ropes. It was full dark now, but Market Square was light from the store windows.
G-E-R-G-E-S. S-T-E-R-C-H-I-S.
What?
S-T-E-R-C-H-I-S. I know how to say it. Sturkey, see?
Let's have a talk about something, you and me. About something I noticed. Come here. Now, you already can spell like I couldn't when I was twice your age. And I'm proud of my boy. But I don't want you to brag.
What's bragging, buddy? It's bragging bad.
Yes, Rufus, bragging's bad. Bragging's what people do when they're afraid. Afraid folks won't like them or respect them. I just mean when you do something real good, like your spelling and all, there's no need to tell everyone about it. There's better ways to make people like you. You just be yourself. You understand?
He wore pants. Pants were what I wore too, but mine were short and soft. His were hard, rough, went right down to his trousers. Dark trousers, right down to his shoes. Dark trousers with the compound creasings of ironings in them.
What's that?
Harvest.
And what's that say? Haberdasher. See, look in the window there. Now, what do you see?
Plastic people.
Well, what are they wearing?
Pants and coats and hats.
That's right. The haberdasher sells clothes for men and boys. Now, what are you looking at? You like that?
No, it's sissy.
Oh, I see what you're looking at. You like that cap there. Well, I reckon Charlie Chaplin and William S. Hart are enough for one night. Besides, you know what your mama says. You're too young for a cap.
I know, I ask her every day, and she says the same old thing. But all the other boys have caps.
Well, you know your mama. She'll come to it a good time. You be patient.
He smelled of dry grass, leather, and tobacco. And sometimes a different kind of smell, full of great energy and a fierce kind of fun. And also the feeling that things might go wrong. I knew what that was because I overheard them. Whiskey.
I'm afraid a wintergreen is a lifesaver enough. I don't have the words to say what I want to say, Jay. I don't, Jay. It's not just your drinking or my religion. There's a gulf, a distance.
You just gotta let it be, Mary.
We both say so little. We take such care to say so little. I don't know what you're looking for, Jay Father, but I don't think you're going to find it in the bottom of a bottle.
And you're not gonna find it in a handful of rosary beads or in St. Andrew's Episcopal Church! I'm sorry, Mary. You just gotta let it rest.
It's bound, Jay. Unless you change, it is bound to come between us and set you apart from him. It is bound to come into this home.
I reckon I'll hoist me a couple. Evening.
Evening, sir. What do you have?
I'll have me a glass of whiskey, please.
All right.
I'll have me another if you don't mind. Thank you. Well, nobody I know tonight. His name's Rufus.
How do you do, Rufus? Why don't you put it right there? Ooh, that's powerful grip you got there. Expect he's a good fighter.
Well, age 6. Not much call for fighting, but he is smart. Now, he already can read like I couldn't when I was twice his age.
Do say.
Well, why don't we show the gentleman? Rufus,
Yeah, he sure can read. Right powerful. Why don't you ask your daddy? He got 30 cents.
That ought to do it.
All right, y'all come back real soon, you hear?
Pleased to meet you.
He says he's pleased to meet you.
I'm pleased to meet you, Rufus.
Night.
Was that bragging, Daddy?
Well, yes, Rufus, I guess I was bragging just a little. But that's because I'm proud of you. And I don't want you to be afraid to talk to folks. I don't ever want you to be afraid to talk to folks, Rufus. Rufus, I don't ever want you to be afraid. I don't ever want you to be alone. Now, let's not tell your mama about that.
Although he loved our home, and he loved us, he was even more lonely than the contentment of his family love could help. And it even increased his loneliness or made it hard for him not to be lonely. Sometimes on these evenings we would pause about a quarter of a mile from home on a rock under a stray tree that had grown in the city, our feet on undomesticated clay, facing north through the night over the southern railroad tracks and over North Knoxville, over the deeply folded small mountains, the Powell River Valley. Above us, the trembling lanterns of the universe, singing so near, so intimate, when the wind stirred the leaves, it seemed to be the breathing, whispering of the stars. Sometimes on these evenings he would hum a little. The humming would break open into a word or two. He never finished even a part of a tune. Silence was even more pleasurable. Sometimes he would say a few words of very little consequence. He would never seek to say much or to finish what he was saying. The silence again was even more pleasurable. The rest of the way home, we did not speak. By the time I was nearly asleep, I heard once more the crumpling of freight cars. And deep in the night, I heard the ring of a telephone, and then the crumpling of subdued voices, and the words, "Tell him I'll see him tonight." By the time I heard the creaking and departure of the Ford, I was already so deeply asleep that it seemed part of a dream. And I'd so forgotten the words and the noises that years later, when I remember them, I can never be sure that I'm not making them up.
Damn!
Rufus!
All right, lie still. Yeah, hello. Hello, who is it? Hello, Ralph? Ralph, yeah, hello. What's the trouble? What's wrong with your voice? Are you drunk, Ralph? Are you crying? Sure, I can hear you. What's the matter? I'll bet it's Paul. It's Paul, ain't it, Ralph? All right, Ralph, I appreciate you calling. Now tell me about Paul. Ralph, listen, can you hear me? Is he dead or alive? So I should come up, huh? Now hold on, Ralph. You just hold on there. If Paul's that bad, you know damn well I'm coming, so don't give me none of that. Now listen here, Ralph. Now don't think I'm jumping on you, but just listen. Do you hear me? Hear me? Ralph, now get it straight. I'm not trying to jump on you, but it sounds to me like you've had a few. Now hold on. I don't give a damn if you're drunk or sober as far as you're concerned. The point is this, anyone that's drunk, they're likely to exaggerate. Shut up, Ralph! Of course you're not. But if you're drunk, you can get an exaggerated idea of how serious the thing is. Now just think it over, and remember, no one's gonna think bad of you for calling or changing your mind, Ralph. Now just, how sick is he, Ralph? Think, goddammit! Ralph, look, I know you wouldn't have phoned if you didn't think it was serious. Is Sally there? Well, let me talk to her a minute, will you? Of course, Mother's out there. Has the doctor been out? Well, what's he say? Well, Ralph, look, I'm talking too much. I'm starting right on up. I ought to be there by, what time is it? Ralph, I ought to be there by daylight. Now, Ralph, I want you to tell Mother I'm coming on as quick as I can get there. And is he conscious? Cut it out, Ralph. What the hell do you think I am? If he gets conscious, just tell him I'm coming. And Ralph, look, I know I've got no room to talk, but drink some coffee before you go back, huh? And drink it black. That's all right, Ralph. I'm starting on up. That's all right, Ralph. She'll understand. Okay, Ralph. Goodbye. Thanks, Ralph. Thanks for calling. Goodbye.
Gracious sake, I thought he talked forever.
I reckon he can't help it.
Is there a grave?
Oh, Lord knows. I can't be sure enough of anything with Ralph. It may all just be a false alarm. I know Ralph goes off his Charlie easy, but we just can't afford to take that chance.
Of course not, Jay.
And what are you up to?
Why, your breakfast, of course.
Oh, maybe. Get on back to bed. I can pick up something downtown. Be just as easy.
That is out of the question. I'm not having you eating in some all-night diner. Bring your shoes to the kitchen.
The iron lids are lifted. The kindling is laid in the grate. And the lid's replaced and a squirting match applied beneath. The coffee is set on the stove. Its grounds afloat on the cold water. All of these things were set motions, regressions, routines, and retracings. The meat sliced and sliding, spitting in a black skillet. The eggs broken and their shells consigned. And the chairs lifted from the porch to the table. And the butter set on, the sugar, salt, pepper. A spoon straightened, the lamp set at the center, the eggs ready, the coffee ready, the meat ready, the breakfast ready.
How many can you eat?
Yeah, I don't know. I imagine 2 are going to be enough.
Well, if they're not, I'll make the third one.
10,000 little things you keep thinking of every day on account of Rufus, me. And maybe I don't mean thinking. I guess it's automatic, like breathing. Most of the time, you're dead right. There's good common sense behind it. You were right about that linoleum. Plain old black and white's better than all them fancy patterns.
Eat your eggs. Good cold.
Good eggs. Good coffee.
It's the way you like it. Pot's chock full of old grounds and I added new. I suppose I ought to make 2 pots, one I can stand to drink and one the way you like it.
Come on, sit down here, sweetheart.
Oh, no, Jay. If I eat now, I won't be able to go back to
glass of warm milk will put you right back to sleep. What would you like to do for your birthday?
Why, Jay. Why, nice thing.
Yeah, you think it over. I'll see we manage. It is, of course, if everything goes the way we hope it will up home.
Well, let's hope it will, Jay.
I'll bet your milk's warm.
You finish.
It's funny, we were all thinking we'd be losing great-grandma, and now it turns out Paul's the one who... Well, Mary. Now, where?
Wait.
Coat and vest.
Rachel, wait. You know, I was almost tempted to wake him. Well, I suppose it's silly, but he's so used to. I'm afraid he's going to be very disappointed you didn't tell him goodbye.
Well, it'll be silly to wake him up. Besides, you might not get to sleep the rest of the night.
Now who has common sense? But Jane, if worse comes to worse, he might have gone longer than the hope.
Well, you think perhaps I should?
One thing.
No. You see, even at the worst, I'll be back to take y'all a funeral, I mean. And these hard things are generally decided pretty fast. Chances are very good I'll be back tomorrow night. Well, that's tonight, I mean.
Oh, yes, I see. Yes.
I'll tell you what. You tell him, don't promise him or anything, of course, but you tell him I'm practically sure I'll be back before he's asleep. And tell him I'll do my best.
All right, Jay.
Yes, that's sensible.
Oh, don't be frightened, little timid soul. It's just a clean handkerchief. Couldn't possibly hurt you.
I'm sorry, I didn't know what you're up to.
You look just fine.
Well, good Lord of mercy, I didn't think it was hardly 3.
It's very late.
Yep, no more dawdling. I hate to go, Mary. Can't be avoided. Now, you'll catch cold.
No, it's milder outside than in. What a heavenly night. I almost wish I could go with you in whatever happens.
Well, I wish you could, dear. I wish you could. Goodbye, Mary.
Goodbye, Jay.
I'll let you know quick as I can if it's serious.
Well, I pray it won't be, Jay.
Well, we can only hope.
Give all my love to your mother. Tell her they're in my thoughts and wishes constantly. And your father, if he's well enough to talk to.
Sure, dear.
And you take care of yourself.
Sure. Say, how's your money?
All right. Thank you.
Now, tell Rufus goodbye for me. Tell him I'll see him tonight.
I better not promise, had I?
No, but probably. And Mary, don't wait supper for me. I'll try to make it, but don't wait it. And you think it over about your birthday.
Well, then I hear from you. See you soon. might be worthy in realization of the sorrowful thing if it must happen, and of use and comfort to others in their sorrow. If John Henry Follett must be taken, if he's with you now, may he rest in peace. And Lord, if it be thy will that the sorrow must come upon my husband, then I most humbly beseech you, open my husband's heart and awake his dear soul that he might find comfort in thee and see thee more clearly. For there, Lord, as thou knowest, is the true winding gulf between us. Lord, in thy mercy, who can do all things, close this gulf. Make us one in thee as we are one in earthly wedlock. For Jesus' sake, cereal. His heart, like the one he had that time last fall on the worst, Uncle Ralph says, he wanted very much to see Daddy, just as quick as Daddy could come. Why? Because he loves Daddy, and if Rufus eat or it'll all be nasty and cold, and then you know you hate to eat it. Because if Daddy didn't see Grandpa soon, well, Grandpa might not get to see Daddy again. Why? Because Grandpa's getting old. When you get old, you can get sick and not get well, and then God let you go to sleep and can't see people anymore.
Don't you ever wake up again?
Well, you wake up in heaven. Only people on earth can't see you, and you can't see them.
Why not?
Because you're in heaven. Now eat.
Did Oliver wake up?
Well, I don't know. I imagine he woke up in a part of heaven God keeps specially for cats.
Did the rabbits wake up?
I'm sure they did if Oliver did.
Bloody like they were?
Oh, Rufus. Oh, that was just their poor little bodies. God wouldn't let them wake up all hurt and bloody, poor things.
Why did God let the dog in?
We don't know, Rufus. We don't know. But it must be a part of his plan that we'll understand someday.
I bet they sneaked in when he wasn't looking, because he sure wouldn't have let them if he'd been there.
No, Rufus. We believe that God's everywhere and he knows everything, and nothing can happen without his knowing. But the devil's everywhere too, and he's always tempting us. And when we do what the devil tempts us to do, then God lets him do it.
What's that?
Tempt is, well, the devil tempts us when there's something we want to do we know is bad.
Why does God let us do bad things?
Because he wants us to make up our own minds.
Even if we do bad things right under his big nose?
He doesn't want us to do bad things. He wants us to know good from bad and be good of our own free choice.
Why?
Well, because he loves us, and he wants us to love him. And if he just made us be good, well, we really couldn't love him enough. You can't love what you're made to do, and you couldn't love God if he made you.
Why?
Rufus, must you always ask why?
Well, why don't you tell him, Mary?
Jay, talk about it for real.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, what's good? Well, why don't you get it over with?
Rufus? Soon you're going to have a wonderful surprise.
What's a surprise?
Well, it's like being given things for Christmas, only nicer.
Hooray, what am I going to be given?
Go on, tell him, Mary.
Well, now, I don't mean it's a present, especially for you, but something for all of us, for Daddy and you and me.
What is it? What is it?
Well, if I told you, it wouldn't be surprised now, would it?
I don't care. I want to know anyway.
Well, I would be glad to tell you what it was, Rufus, but I think it'd be very hard for you to imagine it. I just think it'd be best for you to see it first.
When is it coming?
Well, you'll know right away when it is here, and there's no use looking for it because it's not going to be here till exactly it is here.
Where is it till then?
Jay, it's up in heaven. It is still up in heaven. Now, scoot. Jay, I just have a feeling we might start making CONNECTIONS between one thing and another.
Well, he's gonna make them. He's gonna make them anyhow.
Well, what would you say?
Well, I wouldn't take him on a tour of the interior, if that's what you mean. But at least I'd let him know what's up, and I'd leave God where he
Oh,
belongs.
talk about Father in that snotty, sneering way. You sound like Papa.
All right, Mary, just don't get nerved up.
Well, there is no use in enforcement on his ATTE. His attention. Now, is there? Is there, Jay?
No, Mary, you're right. Just don't get excited about it. I was all wrong about it. Of course I was.
What can you say?
Well, I'll be goddamn. I can't imagine, sweetheart. I just better keep my mouth shut.
But what good would it do him, Mama? It would be so much easier for him.
God doesn't believe in the easy way. Not for us, not for anybody, not even for him. God wants us to come to him, to find him the best way we can.
Like hide and seek?
What?
Like hide and go seek.
Well, some ways it's like hide and seek.
But hide and seek's just a game. It's just a game. God doesn't fool around for a game.
Okay, all right, that's enough. You march and you go to school because you're going to be late.
There in the chill and small dust, which is beneath porches, subtle funnels of doodlebugs, whose teasing of a broom straw is one of the patient absorptions of kneeling childhood after school. And there in that dust, and the damper dust, and the dirt, dead twigs of living, swept from the urgent tree, signs and relics. Bent nails withered and knobbed with rust. A bone button, its two eyes torn into one. The pierced back of an alarm clock, greasy to the touch. A torn fragment of pictured print, the white tin eyelid of a summer shoe. There are other things as well. A long and slender, infinitesimally rustling creep and system of ants in their traffic. Here the earth is cold, continually damp, and in the odors of mold in a well. There are cold insects, sutured and plated, rapid on many feet that run in a rill and nimbus along their narrow bodies. And the clean pine underside of the house, blonde like the floor of a turtle. That sun has never and and weather has scarcely touched, so that it looks still new, as if as yet it had sustained no sorrow above, but only a hope that was still in the process of approach. As once this whole house was, all fresh and bridal, many hollowed rooms, all brimming with honey.
Hello? Why, Hannah. No, I have no plans for Rufus. Why, no, Hannah, I don't believe Rufus has plans for himself either, not as far as I know. Well, I'm sure he'd be glad to go shopping with you. No, you mustn't come up. Rufus will make the trip instead. No, I've had no message from Jay. No need to worry. I'm sure he would have called if his father had. Well, even if they'd been in a grave danger. Well, that's very nice. I'm sure he likes it too. Why, certainly so, Hannah. All right. No, of course I will, but I really don't expect to. He was sure he'd be home by supper time, or a little after. Well, he certainly would if everything was, well, relatively all right. All right. All right. Goodbye. Rufus! Rufus!
Here I am, Mama.
Rufus, look at you. You're not to play under there. And your Aunt Hannah wants to take you shopping. Now, you march in here, wash your hands and your face. You know what you're to say to your Aunt Hannah? You say, I'm very glad to come, Aunt Hannah, and thank you very much for thinking of me. Can you say that?
I'm very glad to come, Aunt Hannah, and thank you for being very glad to come.
Catherine, Rufus is coming up. Catherine, do you hear me?
You know she can't hear you. I don't know why you bother. Has she heard from Jay?
Not yet. I guess it can't be too serious after all.
Oh, goodness gracious, how you startled me.
Catherine, hello. It's just Rufus and I.
Hi, Grandma.
Oh, and here's little Rufus. You going shopping?
Yes, we are.
Well, have a good time. And you give your grandma a good hug. Nice boy.
There's Rufus.
Hi, Grandpa.
Great heavens, it's dark as the inside of a cow in here. No cap yet. You should let you wear pants that button up the front. That's a blessing.
Oh, something amusing?
Nothing much, Catherine.
Oh, no matter.
It's just not worth repeating, is all.
Thinking it's okay for Rufus.
Great heavens, you don't want him afloat in the forest in downtown Knoxville?
Well, you're very prompt, and you look very nice. Would you really like to come?
I'm very glad to come in, and thank you very much for being
Well, I know a direct quotation when I hear it, but I know you really mean it.
Why a cow, Aunt Hannah?
What, Rufus?
Well, it certainly would be dark inside of a cow, but it would be dark inside anything. Why did Grandpa say it's dark as the inside of a cow?
Well, Rufus, it is just an expression. And you're right, it doesn't make an awful lot of sense. We will have to remember to ask your grandfather someday, and I trust he will have the proper response. Now, shall we be off?
There's no flurry or dawdling as there would have been with any other woman. She did not speak much or worry over me, nor did I want to be on the range of her weak sight, for I enjoyed her company. Of all grown people, she was the most considerate. She remembered to inquire every 10 minutes or so courteously whether I was tired, but I was seldom tired in her company. With her, I never felt any embarrassment in saying I had to go to the bathroom. Her personal tastes were almost as frugal as her needs. Hooks and eyes, lengths of black tape and white tape, snappers so tiny it was difficult to handle them, narrow lace, a few yards sometimes of black or white cotton cloth, now and then 2 pairs of black cotton stockings, and a beautifully transparent flowered scarf.
I have taken you into my confidence, Rufus. You mustn't utter a word to your mother. We want to surprise her on her birthday, and we mustn't forget your Uncle Andrew. Might I inquire whether the grammar of ornament has arrived? Mercy. That is no grammar. It is an entire encyclopedia. What do you think your Uncle Andrew will think of that, Rufus? Yes, it does. It's something an artist can't be without. I'm afraid this is larger than I can carry. I would like to have it delivered.
Yes, ma'am.
You must deliver it to me personally, no later than May 21st. Now, that is 3 days. Can you be sure of that?
Certainly, ma'am.
Oh, what if there was an accident and your Uncle Andrew saw it too soon? The surprise would be spoiled. We'll have to arrange something else. Do you think you can help me with a few bundles, Rufus? If you take this package, and perhaps we can put this little bundle in your pocket here, and I shall carry the grammar of ornament there. No. Do you think you can handle this one as well, Rufus? It's not too heavy for you, is it? Well, I think we are organized, aren't we, Rufus? Thank you, sir. And now, if you'd like it, I'd like to buy you a cap. Unless, of course, there's something else you'd rather have. Very well, then. Let's see what we can do about it. We'll go to Harbison's, I think. I know Mary prefers Miller's, but Harbison has the best cap, don't you think? Now, let's see. That gentleman looks like a clerk. He's not wearing a hat. Where do I go, please, to buy a cap for my nephew?
Right this way, lady. We got here the best selection in store-bought caps. Now, if I can just get a fix on the young fella's head. What do you think of this blue one here? Best quality, sir.
Well, there's your customer. Go on, we can see what you think. Don't you worry about Mary, your mother. If she knew you really wanted a cap, I'm sure you would have had one long ago. Now, go on. That is very nice, but let's look at small first.
Well, I can show you a tweed or a nice gray corduroy. Come here, young fella. Listen, I think this is your very first cap. Well, I think the fella's first cap ought to be pretty darn special, don't you? You just take a look all up and down the shelf here, and when you see the one you like, you point it out to me.
That's very nice. But think about it, Rufus. You'll be wearing it an awfully long time, you know, with all sorts of clothes.
Take a look in the mirror there. Boy, you look like a regular sport.
Do you like it best of all? Better than this one? Or this one? Very well, then. You shall have it.
You be sure to kick it around a little. My people, all now fallen backward into their graves like blown wheat, folded under the earth like babies in blankets. They lie down in so many places. Western England, in Scotland, in Ireland, in Massachusetts, in Michigan, Tennessee, where my own life began. My mother's people. In France, in Germany, the mountains of a wilderness which became Tennessee, my father's people. The Holy Bible.
Oh, with the words spoken by Christ printed in red.
Presented to Hugh James Follett by Mary Lynch Follett. Family record. Parents' names. Husband, Hugh James.
J. Follett, born July 1, 1880.
Wife,
Mary Leonore Lynch Follett, born June 29, 1884.
Hugh James Follett, Mary Leonore Lynch were united in holy matrimony on the 25th day of May in the year of our Lord, 1906. Children,
James Agee, born November 27.
wife's family tree.
Brothers and sisters.
Andrew Jasper.
And Paul Margaret.
Mother,
Catherine Amelia Farron Tyler.
brothers and sisters.
Emma Francis.
I love that name. I
James
never really
died
liked my
young,
name.
Mary Eugenia. Grandfather Andrew Everett.
Oh, he was a baron.
Grandmother Leonora Catherine Hickerson.
Great-grandfather Rufus Jasper Whitman Hickerson.
Great-grandmother Alma Margaret
When
Ballard.
Alma died, he remarried, but I don't remember her name.
Father,
Joel Rawson Tyler.
brothers and sisters,
Hannah Colleen. Cyrus Burke Douglas Edward.
Grandfather.
I miss
Elton
Cyrus.
Joanne.
Grandmother
from
Frances
Michigan.
Helen Burke. Great-grandfather Chester Ross.
Great-grandmother Corinne May Artist.
She was a hard nut, she was.
Husband's family tree.
Brothers and sisters.
Ralph Orton.
Sadie Mae.
Mary
That's
Sarah
the
Marie
other
Worth.
thing. That's a little boy. I can't remember who that's for.
Mother, Jessie Roma Ellis.
Brothers and sisters, Lucinda, Sarah Joseph, Ralph Purdy, Anna Naomi, Emmett.
Grandfather. Orville McCreary.
He was a Saul of Christ, I believe.
Grandmother Jessie Mae Weymouth.
But she was a Baptist.
Great-grandfather James Wilson Weymouth.
Name my boy for him.
Great-grandmother Lucinda Ellis Shackle. A father, John Henry Follett.
Great Kennedy
Brothers and
Jefferson
sisters.
and John.
Celia May.
And not them
Samuel
been
Day.
immigrating. And running with the rhythm of life.
Grandfather,
From time of this
Cyrus
country
Orville
was a
Follett.
tide of
Grandmother, Sadie
Not
G.
one white person dearer than
Great-grandfather
3 miles.
Orville Hugh McCorkle.
Indians,
And
bears,
great-grandmother
panthers,
Linda
wolves.
Edgecombe.
There's a road just a path. They done harm me and Johnny Cates.
will not, not now, not ever, will not ever tell me who I am.
Rufus, now you take good care of Jim Wilson. He's your cousin, you know.
He came suited, hey, honey?
What do you think of this machine? Have you ever seen anything like her? I had her out on the edge of town. Must have been doing 60, just like Barney Oldfield.
Well, she's a beaut, Ralph.
When people see me driving in this, they ain't gonna make any more smart remarks. It's good for business, too. No better color than black for a man in my profession. Did I show you my new business cards, Jay? Look at this here.
Look at them. All squished out. Look, this one here, that's just an old boot. And this one, that's a butterfly. Look, Jim Wilson, it ain't dead, it's flying up there.
Hey! Jim Wilson, you leave them headlights alone. You're ruining the fit. Oh, now you ain't gonna cry. Fingerprints, that's what ruins the finish. Oh, now don't you cry. It mean nothing by it. Where are you taking him?
I'm taking him to the bathroom, if you must know. He's been
See
drinking
you
lemonade
have
all
to-
afternoon, and I don't want him to have an
Go sit with your Grandma
accident.
Polly. You hardly ever get to see her.
That's right, you see. Right here next to me.
You going to school, Rufus? What grade you in now?
Second grade.
Second grade. I bet you're a bright one. I'm a bright one, too. I got as far as 5th grade. And I'm a darn sight brighter than my old teacher. When the teacher told me the earth turned on an axle, I asked her, was that axle standing posted? She said, yes, that's what she said. I said, well, wasn't hell supposed to be under this? And if it was, wouldn't all the time we trying to chop that axle post out from under the earth? But her the still was. So I was always talking about axles. Teacher never did bring up those damn thing axles. No, sorry. They didn't bring up nothing but those damn axles.
Terrible handicap not to be educated. You be sure you get better marks from your teacher than your grandpa here.
Oh, Rufus always gets good marks, but he can read too. Sometimes Jay and I have to spell words out loud to keep a secret from him. He's even getting so he can understand that.
Mary.
Can you spell cheese, boy?
C-H-E-S-E.
Oh. Well, you want a piece of cheese, boy? Yeah. I want you to whistle to it, and it'll jump in your lap.
Ralph.
Right off this table and into your lap. Come on. Come on. Try some more.
Ralph, that's just about enough of that, Ralph. Well, I think it's a perfect shame to see even a little child who's been brought up to trust people and laughing right in his face.
Mary.
Why, Mary,
Jim Wilson don't even fall for that old gag anymore.
Ralph didn't mean any harm.
I don't care, Jay. I just don't care a hoot. And if you won't stand up for him, I will. I can promise you that.
I didn't mean no harm.
That's just his way, Mary.
He's just joking.
Well, that's all it was.
Well, it's a pretty poor joke if you ask me, violating a little boy's trust.
Well, he's got to learn what to believe, what not to.
He's got to learn some common sense.
He has plenty of common sense. He is a very bright child, if you must know. But he has been brought up to trust older people when they tell him something. Not be suspicious of everyone. And so he trusted you, Ralph, because he likes you. Doesn't that make you feel ashamed?
Come on, Mary, now cut it out!
You wouldn't think anybody would believe what I
Well,
said.
you certainly expected him to believe it. Otherwise, why did you say it?
I'll help you clear up, Mary. No, Mother, Father, you stay right here and keep an eye on the boys.
I reckon she cornered you there, Ralph.
Yeah. I don't know why I do it, Jay. I ought to never have fathered children.
Now, Ralph, you know Mary, she has...
No, she's right. It's so. I'm mean and reckless. I ought to know when to quit. Any man would. I made your boy cry just now.
And 10 minutes from now, you have them laughing at some old thing. Now, that's just your way, Ralph. When they're young, they forget.
No, they don't. Jim Wilson, when he looks at me, he's a fear. Scared of his own father. He's growing up weak. Just like me. Can I tell you something, Jay?
Ralph.
Sally, too. She's afeard of me. I'm the worst tail chaser in La Follette. Half the town knows it. Sally knows it, too. She don't care for me no longer. She just takes me when she has to. What is it has been happening that I am living the way that I am?
Now, Ralph, you gotta quit talking like this. Now, you've been drinking before you got here, because this is booze talking, and Lord knows I know that.
I don't remember one sober breath that I drawn that ever felt right. And I'm tired of not feeling right. Look.
I'm going to say this to you calm, Ralph, because you're my brother, and I have learned to love you in spite of yourself. But I don't ever want you to talk about her like that again. Now, Mary has her ways, her religion, and I have mine, but she is my woman, my wife, and I'm damn lucky. I couldn't imagine deserving better.
What made you quit, Jay? Huh?
I took a vow. I stood over my boy's crib late one night and I said, if I ever get drunk again, I'd kill myself. And I got too many reasons not to kill myself.
Well, I got reasons, too. Don't I, Jay? Don't I?
You do.
I do know better. Don't I, Jay?
You do. Come on over here, Rufus.
Jay.
About time we got started.
I got to tell you one more thing. Well, I don't care if Rufus hears. I bought this Chalmers here because it's a better class of auto than the one that you got. Well, that was it, pure and simple.
Well, that's all right, Ralph. I understand, and no need to mention it again. But I'll tell you what, now, we don't want to get that shiny new black finish all dusty on those backcountry roads, do we, Rufus? So how about we all just pile in the
Honeybee? Honeybee? What kind of name is Honeybee? That's what you call little girls, ain't it? Honeybee? Oh, Rufus, you forget I said that. Honeybee is a right fine name.
Come on, wake
no,
up,
we
Paul.
call
Wake
Jim
up,
Wilson.
Paul.
We call him Chicken.
We're gonna call.
Don't we? Don't we? Oh, little chicken.
What?
Come on, Sally.
Well, we're gonna pay a call on your great-great-grandma. She especially wants to see you, Rufus, because you're her oldest great-great-grandchild.
You gonna be comfortable back there, Clark?
I think I'll be just fine. Maybe back to them.
Jim Wilson, you come sit up here with Rufus. No, Grandma and Grandma Violet need no good and bad. Sit on my lap. No, Sally, I insist you won't have a comfortable ride with us sitting on your lap all that way.
Well, Jake, it looks like your car's packed tighter than a sardine can. Looks like I'm going to have to ride on the running board. I reckon I'm the only one who remembers the way anyhow. I've been a big guy.
All right, Mary, all right.
Wait for me.
Here we go. All right.
Watch out for them ruts
Oh,
there.
I'm not going yet. All right.
Take that road that runs the other way from off the left.
Yeah, I suppose I'll remember that much anyhow.
Jay, I'm awfully sorry, but now I think you won't forget
Again, what?
your promise.
What promise?
I mean a little too fast, dear.
Got the road along here. Got to make time while we can, while the road's good. The way I remember, there's some stretches you can't hardly get a mule through. We're coming. You ain't that so, Ralph?
We're going into deep country. Some folks don't see another soul from the first snow to the spring thaw.
Mercy.
Oh, we're just ragging. You but all the same, got to make time while you can.
Now, around this bend, you run through a branch and you turn out sharp to your right.
You feel that pretty tough, Mama? Should have done it because there's a lot of sun.
Now, you see that hill? You get to that hill, you stumble on the face of it to your left, till you see your second right, and you take that. Now, wait. Slow down. From here on in, we got to take it slow and careful. Now, wait.
There's only one way to go. That's left.
Well, I reckon my memory ain't so sharp as a brag.
Well, you're doing just fine.
Why, you certainly are.
I could have sworn there was a road both ways there, but it was nigh on 20 years since I was out here.
Well, then I think your memory's doing better than anyone could expect.
Well, how long since you've been out here, Jay? Jay?
I'm a studying it.
Oh, hold up. There's that turn. I know I remember it.
I reckon I haven't been out here in about 13 years. Just before I come up to Knoxville.
Well, you always were her favorite, now, weren't you?
I reckon that's the fact. She wants to see things of China State.
Yeah, I reckon I always do take a shine at her, Paul.
Looks like you've been right for the field. I know I ain't taking the middle. When you hear something wrong.
How was she, Jay?
Well, I seem to remember she was beginning to fail in lots of different ways. Yeah, her rheumatism was getting pretty bad. But her mind, in the mind, she was as bright as a dollar. Of course, I can't say that's how we're going to find her
No,
now.
of course not.
I'm sure that's fine.
That sure is a fact. Before you know it, this year is last year.
I know she ain't never seen my new one.
Well, that's just going to be a treat for her.
Oh, it will be that. I hope she can still recognize all us Pollens.
Mightn't she have even died?
Oh, no, Lord, no. We didn't know that she died.
It's not the thing in the legend again, but I've been there, I think. It's just something.
Is she taking good care of?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I would say his name, say,
It's like good to think of it.
or no one else could do it. Everybody else is married and gone, and she wouldn't go to live with any of us.
Yeah, I was over she was in my home. She's got the hand on the like I lived there all my life for 14 years, and I ain't been dying.
Grandma died a good near 40 years ago, and she was old then.
Well, she's 103 years old. 103 or 104, never could remember for sure which. She always knew she wasn't born later than 1812. She always reckoned it might have been 1811.
Heavens, Jay, you been there? Just imagine, Sally. Well, think of that, Jim Wilson, Rufus.
Oh, she must be an old doggy.
Why, the things she
What's eating you, Ralph? Lost the way?
No, I ain't lost it exactly. No, I wouldn't swear to that yet. But I'll be damned if I know that it is anymore all the same.
Well, maybe we better figure it out right now.
There's no landmarks right here I know of. Maybe we ought to start back while I still know the way. Try it another Sunday.
Oh, Jay.
Well, I hate to, but we gotta get back to Knoxville while it's still light, don't forget.
Oh, Jay.
We can try it another Sunday, make an earlier start.
Just drive up to where the valley opens up there and let me take a look. By golly, this is it.
Looks like.
This is it, all right. We come at it from behind.
Why, sure enough.
There she is.
Lord God, howdy, John Henry.
Howdy, Sadie.
Well, howdy, Aunt Sadie.
Howdy, Jay. Howdy, Ralph. Jess.
This is Mary, Aunt Sadie. Mary, this is Aunt Sadie.
I'm proud to know you. I figured it must be you.
I'm glad to know you too.
And this is Ralph Sally. And this is our boy, Jim Wilson. And this is my boy, Rufus.
Well, good Lord, file on out. How's Grandma? Oh, good as we got any right to expect. But don't feel put out if she don't know none of yous. She might not. Half the time, she don't even know me.
Poor old soul.
So if I was y'all, I'd come up on her kind of easy. Been a coon's ache since you've seen so many folks at once. Me either. Might scare if y'all come whooping up at her in a flock.
Sure. Well, why don't you go see her first, Paul? You're the eldest.
Take me she wants to see.
It's the children that tickle her the most.
Reckon that's the truth. She can take notice. She sure liked to crack her heels when she heard your boy was born. Murray or no Mary, proud as Lucifer, 'cause that was the first.
Yes, I know. 5th generation that made.
Did you ever get her postcard, Jay?
What postcard?
I don't recall one.
Well, she told me what to write on one of them postcards and put it in the mail to both of you, so's I done it. Did you ever get it?
First I ever heard tell of it.
Well, what street did you send it in, say?
I never sent it to no street, never knowed I needed to, Jay, working for the post office.
Oh, I quit working for the post office, Aunt Sadie, a long time back, even before that.
Well, I reckon that's how come then. I just sent it to post office, Crystal Belt, Canal Zone, Panama, and I spelt it right too. C-R-I.
Well, Aunt Sadie, I'm sorry. I thought you'd known. We've been living in Knoxville since pretty near 2 years before Rufus was born.
Well, they might as well just put me out to grass, lay me down, and give me both barrels through the head.
Oh, Aunt Sadie.
Well, I know that like I know my own name, and it plumb slipped my
Oh,
mind.
what a shame.
It ain't shame. I feel it sick in my stomach right here. If I get like that too, then who's gonna look out for her?
Oh, take so bad, Aunt Sadie.
Everybody slips up now and then. I do it myself. I ain't your age.
Well, you ought to see Sally. Go on, Sally. Tell her what a scatterbrain you are.
It ain't the only time, not by a long shot. It weren't 3 days ago that I... Taking on back the troubles ain't never helped nobody. You just sit here a minute. You just hold on a minute. Grandma, you got company. You hear me, Grandma? It's Jay and his wife and youngins come up from Knoxville to see you.
She can't talk anymore.
She knows you. Come on over. I'll tell her about the rest of yous in a minute.
Oh, it's all right, Ma. We don't want to mix her up, I guess.
Come sit here by me, Ralph.
Don't holler, it only scares her. Just talk loud and plain right up next your ear.
Well, I understand. My mother is very deaf, too.
Yeah. Grandma? Jay, John Henry's boy.
I figure she knows you.
She can't talk, can she?
Times she can, times she can't. Ain't only so seldom call for talk, reckon she loses the hang of it. But I figure she knows you, and I am tickled she does.
Come here, Rufus.
How long
Now just call her Grandma. Get up, right up by her ear like you do your Grandma Lynch, and say, Grandma, I'm Rufus.
I looked into her eyes. She looked into mine. But hers did not in any way change her expression. They were just colors.
There was a color through the dot at the middle, dim as blue-black oil, and a circle so pale that it looked like glass, smashed into 1,000 dimly sparkling pieces, smashed and infinitely old and patient, and a ring of dark so fine and sharp no needle could have drawn it, and a clotted yellow full of tiny squiggles of blood, and a wrong side furrow of red bronze, and little black lashes. Vague light crackled in the sparkled center of the eye like some kind of remote ancestor's anger. And the sadness of time dwelt in the blue, breathing, oily center, lost and alone and far away, deeper than the deepest well.
Grandma, I'm Rufus. I'm Jay's boy, Rufus.
Come out here where she can see you. Now kiss her. There it is, Mary. She's an old woman. He's just a little child, but she was one day. She was once a mother, and someday he'll be a father. It's been happening for a long time. Its beginning was before stars, and it will continue for a long, long time. No one knows where it will end. These children, these mothers, these fathers, it's a pattern, a weaving, a fabric of human living.
Hello? Would you talk a little louder, please? I can't hear. I said I can't hear you. Yes? What is it? Yes? This is she? Yes? Yes? Yes. Yes, there's my brother. Where should he come to? Brannix? B-R-A-N-N-I-C-K. Do you have a doctor? A doctor. Do you have one? Should I send a doctor? He'll come right out just as fast as he can. Yes. Thank you very much for calling. Central, I need Andrew Lynch. Andrew? Andrew, there's been a man just called from Powell Station about 12 miles out the pike towards La Follette. He says Jay's been in a serious accident. They need someone in the family to go out just as quick as possible and help bring him in, I guess. Will you, Andrew? He didn't say. No. I didn't, I guess because I was so sure it was his head. it's just you, I guess because there's already a doctor there. Andrew, wait. Hannah, may I speak with her? Hannah? James been in a serious accident. Andrew has to go out. Would you come up and wait with me and help me get things ready just in case? Just in case he's ready to be brought home and not the hospital. And will you tell Mama and Papa not to come up? You give them my love. You know, we might as well just stay calm as we can till we know. Thank you, Hannah. Andrew? Why, Powell Station, out the pike towards... Yes, Brannix, B-R-A-N-N. Yes. They said they'd leave the lights on for you and you can't miss it. Yes, Andrew.
lamplight here, alone, late. All over the whole round earth, the houses set deep and solitary in the country, in the towns, in the great ironstones of cities, people are drawn inward within their little shells of rooms, now to be seen in their wondrous and pitiful actions through the surfaces of their lighted windows, by thousands, by millions, little golden aquariums in chairs, reading, sewing, not talking, talking, preparing for bed, preparing for sleep. None can care beyond that room. None can be cared for by any beyond that room. And it is small wonder that they are drawn together so close. Wonder only that an age that has borne its children and must lose and has lost them can bear further living. But so it is.
Everything's ready that I can think of, or that we can know about yet. I've made up the downstairs bedroom where he stayed when his poor back was sprained, you remember. It's better than upstairs and in the kitchen and bath both and no stairs to climb. And if need be, well, that is if he needs a nurse, night nursing, we could put her in the dining room and eat in the kitchen. Or even put a cot in the room with him, put up a screen, don't you think? Let's have some tea and I've hot water all ready. It'll be ready in the gym.
Well, let me...
What?
Just let me know if there's anything I can help with.
Spoil away. I think I'll see if I can get Celia Gunn, if she's available, or if she's on the case she could possibly leave. But I think it'll be so much nicer for everyone to have someone who's an old friend, or really one of the family, rather than just a complete stranger, don't you think?
Certainly.
Even though, well, of course, Jay doesn't especially. Of course, she's really an old friend of mine. Well, still, I think it would be more, well, harmonious, don't you think?
Yes, indeed.
I guess there's no reason to do anything till we hear from Andrew, not create a needless disturbance, I guess. After all, there's every possibility he is going to have to be taken to the hospital. The man did say it was serious, after all.
I think you're wise to wait.
Oh, how's that water? Sakes alive, the watch the pot. Mother knows I really want tea anyway. But I think it's a good idea to have some warm to drink while we're waiting, don't you?
I'd like some.
Goodness knows. Do you know the queerest thing? When that man phoned and said that Jay had been in a serious accident, I felt it. Just as certainly as I'm standing here, it's his head. What do you think of that?
We never know.
No. Of course. We just have to wait.
Yes.
Oh, goodness. Well, there's still plenty for 2 cups. Would you like bread and butter? Or toast? I could toast some.
Just tea, thank you.
Help yourself to sugar and milk. Oh, lemon. Oh, let me see. Do I have a lemon?
Milk, thank you.
Me too. It's frightfully hot in here. What time did they leave? Do you know?
Well, Walter Starr came in his automobile for Andrew and I at 10:15, 25 after, I should think.
Let's see. Well, Walter drives pretty fast. But not so fast as Jay. Well, but he'd be driving faster than usual, and it's just over 12 miles, so... Well, that would be, well, let's see, supposing it goes 30 miles an hour, it would be 12 miles in... 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 5 is 30. Twice 12 is 24. Thanks a lot. I'm so dreadful at arithmetic.
Figure about a half hour allowing for darkness, and Walter isn't familiar with those roads.
Then I ought to be here pretty soon.
Yes, I should think.
10 minutes? 15 on the outside. What can I ask him?
What is it?
I didn't even ask him. I didn't ask how serious. Where is he hurt? Is he living or?
Then we simply have to wait to find out.
Of course we have. That's what's so unbearable. I'm sorry. You're perfectly right. I just gotta hold myself together, that's all. No, in heaven's name, why didn't I ask him? Why didn't I? Didn't I care?
Well, you thought you knew. You told me yourself you thought it was his head. It certainly wasn't because you didn't care.
No, it wasn't that. But I think I do know what it was. I think I must have been too afraid of what he would have to say.
Do you understand why your father stayed at home and your mother?
Because I asked them not to come.
But why did you?
Because if all of you come up in a troop like that, it would be like assuming the worst before we even know.
That's why they both stayed at home. We just must keep from making any assumptions, good or bad.
Yes. Yes, I know. I know it's what we have no earthly business guessing about. And it really does seem to me, Aunt Hannah, that there's every good reason for hope. Every good reason. No, I said, have you heard from Andrew? No. No, not yet. Never mind. Never mind. It's all right, Papa. Never mind. Of course I will. Yes, I will. No, bless you, Papa. It's better not yet. No use getting ourselves all worked up till we know, is there? My love to Mama. Yes? I do, Papa. No need to say it. I do, Papa. Goodbye. It's only Papa. Scared me half out of my wits.
He had no business calling.
I don't blame him. I think it's worse for the two of them down there in that house all alone than it is for us here. Papa feels things more deeply than he shows. I realize how very much he does think of Jay.
Why, great heavens, I should hope you do.
For a long time, there was no reason to be sure, Aunt Hannah. Oh, Mama, either. You know that. Well, you tried not to show it, but I knew, and you knew I did. It's all right. It's all right. It has been for a long time.
Well, there were all sorts of terrible misgivings, and not without good reasons. You both came to know that. But you must know, I'm not quite sure you do, how highly your father always thought of Jay right from the very beginning.
Yes. He told me so. He told me, Aunt Hannah, that every time he told me, he was warning me, too. Here he was, praising Jay to the skies on the one hand, and on the other, practically in the same breath, telling me one reason after another why it would be plain foolhardiness to marry him. Now, what was I to think?
Mary.
It's no matter, Aunt Hannah. I know as time passed, he came to think a great deal of Jay.
Can't you see that both things might be so? Or that your father might have sincerely felt that both things were so? Why, you have learned that yourself, Mary.
Have I?
You learned there was a lot in what your father, all of us in our misgivings, said to you. But I'll say, and it never changed your essential opinion of Jay, did it? You can feel, know both things at once.
I suppose that's true.
You just had to learn more and more that was good, and you had to learn more and more that wasn't so good.
All the same, blind as I began it, I was more right than Papa, wasn't I? Papa was right. There was trouble, more than he or any of you will ever know. But it isn't a mistake, Hannah. Hannah, if he dies, if he's dead, I don't know what I'll do. I just don't know what I'll do.
God help you. God keep you. You'll do well. Whatever it is, you'll do well. Don't doubt it. Don't fear. It's well to be ready for the worst, but we must remember, we don't know yet.
Well, certainly by now he should have phoned. Unless he's had an accident. One of three things. Either he's badly hurt, but will live, and at best get thoroughly well, and at worst being a helpless cripple or an invalid or his mind impaired, or he's so terribly hurt he's going to die of it. Maybe quite soon, maybe after a long, terrible struggle. Maybe breathing his last in this very minute and wondering where I am, why I'm not beside him. Or he was gone already when that man phoned, and he couldn't bear to be the one to tell me, poor thing.
One or the other, or the other. But whatever. There's not one thing in this world or the next that we can do, or hope, or guess, or pray at, that will change it or help it one iota. Because whatever is. And all there is now is to be ready for it and strong enough for it, no matter what it is. That's all. That's all that matters, because that's all that's possible. Isn't that so?
Isn't that so?
You will learn it for yourself, by yourself.
What do you mean?
Whatever we hear, learn, Mary, it's almost certain to be hard. Tragically hard. You're beginning to know that. And face it bravely. But what I mean is, this is only the beginning. You'll learn much more beginning very soon now.
Whatever it is, I want so much to be worthy of it.
Don't be worthy of it. Just do your best to endure it. That's more than enough.
So little time to prepare.
It can't be prepared for. It just has to be lived through.
Hannah, let's pray for a moment. Please. In the name of the Father, and the
art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. I think he was dead already when that man phoned. And he couldn't bear to tell me, and I don't blame him. I'm grateful he didn't. It ought to come from somebody in the family, somebody close to Jay and to me. I think Andrew knew when he went out. And he had every intention not to leave us in midair this way. He meant to phone. But all the time he was hoping against hope. As you are. As I am. And when he saw Jay, it was more than he could do to phone. And he knew it was more than I could stand to hear over a phone, even from him, and so he didn't. And I'm infinitely grateful he didn't. He must have known as time kept wearing on in this terrible way, we draw our own conclusions. And that's best. He wanted to be with me when I heard. And that's right. I think what he's doing is bringing in Jay's poor body to the undertaker's, and soon now he'll come home to us and tell us. That's what I think. And that's what I'm ready for. But I'm not going to say it or accept it or do my husband any dishonor or danger until I know beyond any recall it's so. Oh, but I do beseech my God that it not be so.
So do I.
He's dead, isn't he, Andrew? He was dead when you got there?
He was instantly killed. And there.
Sit down, you have to be careful of the baby.
I'm gonna let Mama and Papa know, I promise.
I'll call.
Oh, Walter starts bringing them straight up. They know by now, Aunt Hannah. You sit.
Sit with us, Andrew. Oh, I want whiskey.
I'll get it.
You don't know where it is.
Is there still whiskey in this house?
She needs it.
I will.
All right, just sit down. I'm gonna have some too.
Why don't you let me fix you a strong toddy? It will help you to sleep.
I don't want to sleep. I want to hear how it happened. Andrew let me pull my own because I want it just as strong as I can stand it.
Drink it slowly. You aren't used to it.
I want to hear what happened, Andrew.
There, now I'll tell you if you prefer right away, but could you wait?
Yes, child.
And when you say he didn't have to suffer, instantly you say?
I saw him when we got to Roberts. There was just one mark on his body.
His head.
Right at the exact point of his chin, a small bruise. A cut so small they can close it with a stitch, and a little blue bruise on his lower lip. It wasn't even swollen.
That's all?
That's all. The doctor said it was concussion of the brain. It was instantaneous. He can't have suffered Mary for a fraction of a second. I saw his face, Mary. There wasn't a glimmer of pain in it, only a kind of surprise, startled.
He never knew his life was ended. Not one moment, not one moment to know my life was ended.
In God's name, be thankful he didn't. What kind of thing is that for a man in the prime of life to know anyway? He wasn't a Christian. He didn't have to make his peace with God. He was a man with a wife and a child, for pity's sake. I thank God he was spared that knowledge. I'm sorry, Mary.
He's right. Mary, be thankful for that. You're right, Andrew. Don't mind. We understand.
You're right. Jay wasn't religious in that sense. To know would have been horrible for him. Andrew, I'm not hurt or angry. You set me straight, and I thank you for it.
Don't be sorry.
Papa?
We're back in the kitchen. Please, Walter, you too.
Oh, no, thank you. These are family matters.
I know Mary want to thank you.
Papa. Mama. Oh, Walter.
Miss Fowler, I just
Oh,
couldn't.
bless you.
Well, there now. There now.
Oh, I've got to stop this. Oh, please, Walter, sit with us a minute.
Oh, no, thank you, really. I just dropped in for a moment. I really must be off.
Oh, my Walter, nonsense. You're one of the family.
Well, thank you, but I really must be off.
Walter, I want to thank you.
So do we all.
More than I can
Oh,
say.
nothing now, nothing. You just let me know if there's anything in the world. Please tell me.
Walter, we will. Thank you.
He was a... Oh, good night. You just let me know anything.
I will.
Watch him, huh? Of all of us.
Good night, Walter.
Sometimes
Good night.
life seems more cruel than can be borne.
Andrew, take your mother into the parlor and sit with her there.
What?
You too, Hannah. I want to talk to Mary alone.
What?
Catherine.
What?
Joe wants to speak to Mary privately.
Mama, come.
Catherine, go with Hannah and Andrew.
It's all right, dear. I'll explain it to you.
It's hell, Paul. It's just plain hell. There's no way out of it. Look at me, Paul. You're gonna need every ounce of common sense you got. You gotta understand that things as bad as this and a hell of a lot worse have happened to millions of people before, and they got through it. You will too. Owe it to yourself. You owe it to him. You understand? It's a test, Mary. And it's the only kind of test that really matters. Something rotten as this happens, you've got your choice. You either start to be really alive or you'll begin to die. That's all.
I know.
I suppose now you're thinking about your religion.
I am.
More power to you. I know that's the kind of help I don't have. You just take care you don't crawl into it like a hole and hide in it. You talk to Hannah about that, okay?
I will, Papa.
Okay, one more thing. One more thing. There are going to be financial difficulties. Just what, how we settle them, we'll figure that out in the course of time. I don't want you to have that worry on your hands with the baby coming. Don't you worry about it. We'll take care of it. Drink your drink. You take all you can without getting drunk. I don't give a whoop you got blind drunk. Best thing you could do. You got tomorrow, I reckon. Go on in, sit with your mother. I'll be there in a minute.
Papa!
Go in.
Mary?
Let me tell you, Mama. That way we can all hear. Is that all right, Mary? No one ever know exactly how it happened, but we know enough. I talked with the man who found him. He's the man that phoned you, Mary. He waited for me there all that time because he thought it would help if the person who first saw Jay was there to tell someone all he could. He was just as fine as a human being could be. Jay couldn't have asked for anyone better. No one could. He was coming home about 9 o'clock, and he heard an auto coming up from behind terrifically fast, and he thought, there's somebody that sure got to get someplace in a bad hurry.
Jay was just trying to get home. Well, he told me not to wait supper, but he wanted to be home before Rufus was asleep. Oh, Rufus so wanted to show him his new cap.
What? Nothing, Mama, nothing. All of a sudden, he heard a perfectly terrifying noise and then dead silence. He knew it must be whoever was in that auto and that they must be in some kind of bad trouble, so he turned around and drove back about a quarter of a mile, he thinks, just the other side of Bell's Bridge. Something caught in his headlights, and it was one of the wheels from Jay's car. He got out right away and hurried down there. Next to the bridge on that side, the side of the road is a steep bank, and the auto was upside down, and Jay, he was lying next to it on the ground, on his back about a foot away. His clothes were hardly even rumpled. Man said he knew he was dead the minute he saw him. He didn't know how, just some special kind of stillness. He lighted matches, though, of course, to make sure, listened for a heartbeat, and felt for a pulse. After that, he just waited a few moments until he heard an auto coming, and he asked him to get help as soon as possible.
Did they get a doctor?
Mary says, did they get a doctor? Yes, he told them, and they did, and other people. Doctor said the man was right, that he was probably instantly killed. They found out who he was by papers in his pockets, and that's when he phoned you, Mary. He asked me to say how bad he felt about giving you such a message, leaving you uncertain all that time. He just couldn't bear to be the one to tell you bang like that on the telephone. He thought it ought to be someone in the family.
That's what we imagined.
Do they have any idea what happened?
Yes, they showed me. It was a cotter pin. It worked loose, had fallen all the way out. This cotter pin held the steering mechanism together. Like this. Mama, look. See here, as if it were holding these knuckles together. That's where the cotter pin goes, like a very heavy hairpin, you see?
No matter.
Let it go, son.
Well, they showed me that even without this pin, these parts may hang together. You might even be able to drive without the slightest suspicion there was anything wrong, as long as you were on a fairly smooth road. But if you were to hit a sharp bump or to twist the wheel, they would come apart and you would have no control over anything. What they think is he may have hit a loose rock with one of the front wheels and it jolted everything. It wrenched the wheel right out of his hand and threw him forward very hard so that he hit his chin, just one sharp blow on the steering wheel. The auto threw him out on the ground and went straight up an 8-foot embankment. Doctor said he probably didn't even know what hit him, hardly even felt the impact. It was so hard and quick.
Might have been unconscious, unconscious and paralyzed, unable to speak or breathe. If they just gotten a doctor there.
No, Mary, I have a doctor's word for it. He said the only cause of death was concussion of the brain. It's the quickest death there is. He says there's just one chance in a million.
For God's sake, Andrew.
Oh, just a little mercy. Oh, God, forgive me. It's more than I can bear.
Mary.
Let her cry.
There is nothing to ask forgiveness for. Do you hear me, Mary? Do you hear me? There is nothing to ask forgiveness for. God would never ask of you not to grieve, not to cry. Or what you're doing is absolutely right, absolutely natural. You wouldn't be human if you did otherwise.
I'm sorry, Mary.
No, it's not what you think. It's not that. It was as if he had no mercy.
But Andrew was just like...
God. It was as if he were trying to torment me. That's what I need forgiveness for. For believing that God would try and do that to me.
Listen to me, Mary. Our Lord on the cross. Do you remember?
My God, why hast thou forsaken me?
Yes. And then did he ask forgiveness?
He was God. He didn't have to.
He was human too, and he didn't ask it, nor was it asked of him to ask it. No more are you, and no more should you. What was it he said instead? What was the next thing he said?
Father, into thy hands I commit my spirit.
Into thy hands I commend my spirit.
She's asking God to forgive her.
There now, dear.
Andrew, a little more whiskey, please.
I shouldn't have told you so much all out of heat.
No, you're right to tell me. I want to hear all of it.
Well, there's not much left to tell. He died the quickest, most painless death there is. 1 minute he was alive, maybe more alive than ever before, and then just tremendous blinding shock, and then nothing. You see, Mary, I saw his face. It was startled and resolute and mad as hell. Not one trace of fear or pain.
There wouldn't have been any fear anyway.
I saw him stripped at the undertaker's. There wasn't a mark on his body. Just that little cut on the chin, the bruise on his lower lip. All I can say is when my time comes, I only hope I die half as well.
In his strength. That's how he was taken, in his strength. Singing, probably. Happy, all alone, and racing home because he loved to go fast, and he couldn't except when he was all alone, because he didn't want to support his little boy. And just as you said, Andrew, it was just a moment of danger, death itself, and everything in Jay's nature springing up to meet it, to fight it. And he did, in his strength. Andrew, those are going to be the words on his gravestone. Mama, I was just telling Andrew I think I know the words, the epitaph that ought to go on Jay's headstone. In his strength. Do you see?
Very appropriate, dear.
I think so.
It's fine, Mary.
Then why did you answer when I asked?
I was just thinking of him.
He was just 36. Just exactly a month and a day ago. And 24 hours ago, we were sitting in the kitchen together. We thought it was his father who was at death's door. Well, that's why he went there. And that miserable Ralph was so drunk we couldn't even be sure of the need. Oh, we gotta call him. Well, someone's got to tell his mother. Someone's got to phone Ralph.
Andrew.
Please, Andrew, just tell him. Well, I'm sorry. I couldn't come to the phone.
They'll understand.
You tell him what happened. You give my love to his mother, and you be sure to ask Jay how Jay's father is. Tell them when. What day will the funeral be, Andrew?
I told him I'd see him in the morning about all that.
Well, we'll let them know. Plenty of time to get here, I mean.
What's the number, Mary?
Number?
What's Ralph's telephone number?
I don't know. I guess I can't remember for sure. Well, call Central. It's La Follette. That's queer, I don't know. It was always Jay who called.
Catherine, Andrew's just going to call Jay's brother.
I hope he will extend all our heartmost sympathies.
Mary's asked him to.
I want to make a long-distance call, please. Hello? Hello, is this long distance? I want to call Ralph Follett. Ralph Follett. F-O-L-L-E-T. No, F is in father. F-O... Yeah, have you got that? Yeah, Lafayette, Tennessee. Thank you.
They're country people. She's got grit.
Ralph. Is this Ralph Follett? This is Andrew Lynch. Andrew Lynch. Ralph, I have to tell you about Jay. Jay died tonight, Ralph. Yes, he's dead. He was killed in an automobile accident on the way home out near Bell's Bridge. No, it was instantaneous. Yes, instantaneous. I have a doctor's word for it. It was concussion of the brain. Concussion of the brain. Just so hard a shock to the brain that it killed him instantly. It was a cotter pin in the steering mechanism. He may have been driving that way for miles. No, they all looked some distance up the road with a flashlight, but they couldn't find it. He was driving very fast, Ralph. What is it, Mary?
Tell Ralph not to tell his father. It could kill him.
Ralph! Go away. Ralph, we want to remind you it might be dangerous if your father heard the news. You and your mother know best, but it might be better if you told him he was hurt, not in any danger, don't you think? What did you say? Well, he's at Roberts. I came in with him tonight.
Heavens, Ralph's an undertaker.
I see your point, Ralph. Well, the saving of money is not a question. Ralph! Ralph! I think we ought to leave this up to Mary, don't you think? We appreciate it, and I know she will. Just let me consult her wishes on it, please. Just wait. Ralph's an undertaker. I imagine you know what he wants.
Good.
I told him it was up to you
No.
to decide. He's blaming himself for Jay's death for phoning him in the first place.
He's already
We can't. I won't. No matter what. You just tell him I appreciate it. Thank you.
Just details
I don't care
about
what
the
you tell
funeral.
him. Will you handle it?
I'll handle it.
Ceremony to be held.
It's settled. His home is Knoxville.
That seems as it should be.
Ralph, I'm sorry, but Mary sat on it. Besides, you have your hands full there with your father. I'm sure they'll all understand. We'll call you tomorrow morning with the arrangements. I know, Ralph. Goodbye. Yes. Goodbye. Well, it was either him or you when I chose you.
Well, I hope you didn't hurt him.
He's gonna make an awful case of it to his mother.
Oh, at least she's got some common sense.
I'm gonna take a drink. Talking to that fool is like trying to put socks on an octopus.
Andrew, if you get it for me, I believe I'll have some more whiskey. Not quite so strong as last time. Pretty strong, but not quite so strong as that.
You sure, Mary? This isn't going to your head too much?
It's not going anywhere as far as I can tell.
More?
I think perhaps it would be best not to prolong this discussion any further tonight.
Ooh, don't worry, Mama. I don't think we've fallen under the spell of evil addictions.
What's all the hee-hawing about?
Oh, it's a bad joke after all.
Oh.
Catherine was just saying
Oh, prolong.
Is there-
I don't think Mama wants us to
Is there
prolong our
something
discussion
perhaps
about our
I should
newfound
be
drinking
hearing?
habits anymore.
What?
He was there all day with Ralph. Oh, Andrew, he must have. Oh, no, he might
No,
have. No,
Mary,
he
no.
probably did it. It wasn't part of our promise.
No, there wasn't a trace of it. We would have smelled it.
Mary, keep keep some things to yourself.
He's right. Don't think of that. Think of his face, of his voice, of his hands, of his smile. Remember him with love.
What is it?
Shh! Listen.
What?
Joe! Please, there's something.
I can't hear anything.
Hear it or feel it, there's something.
I'm going to have to see.
Wait. Has somebody come into the house?
It's Jay. I know it. I was so caught up wondering.
I thought I heard footsteps.
Jay? Darling? Can you tell me if you can hear me, dear heart? Try your best to let me know. Jay. Oh, stay near us all you can, Jay. Don't let your heart be troubled. We'll make out. Just rest, dear heart. Just rest. Don't ever be troubled again. Never, never again.
Mary, for God's sake, I'm not exactly an atheist, but this is some kind of a strain. It's a hallucination.
Joe, please. Catherine hears it too. That can't be coming from us. It's like looking at a light and then shutting your eyes. Something stays just for a moment.
He's with Rufus.
May the souls of the faithful for the memory of God rest in peace. Blessed are the dead.
Maybe there are more things in heaven and earth than are true.
I can feel how it is with you, Jay. I know, dear, how it is to go. You don't want to, but you've got to. And you know he's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right. God take you. God keep you. God make his light shine upon you. Jay, stay with me just a moment. Be near us all you can, Jay. This is goodbye. Soon, Jay. Soon, dear. God, in his loving mercy, keep us all.
On Jordan's stormy banks I stand and cast a wishful line to Canaan's fair and happy land, where my processions lie. Oh, the transporting rapture scene that rises to my sight. Sweet fields of raving, living green, and rivers of delight. There night away.
Daddy, Daddy, look. Where's Daddy?
Daddy isn't here yet.
Good morning, Aunt Hannah.
Take off that cap.
Oh no. Hannah let him. He was so crazy for Jay to see it. Rufus, come close. There's something I must tell you. Come sit near me. Are you waked up enough yet? Daddy, your father didn't come home. He isn't ever going to come home anymore. He's gone away to heaven, and he isn't ever going to come home again. Do you see? Because God wanted him. Daddy was on his way home last night when he got hurt, and so God let him go to sleep and took him straightway with him to heaven. Do you see? Yes. You won't quite understand for a while. It's very hard to understand, but you will. You will. Now, if there's anything more you want to know, you just ask me, and I'll tell you, because you ought to know, all right? You just ask. Now go on, your Aunt Hannah will have your breakfast ready for you.
Aren't you getting up, Mama?
Not just yet.
Everything is queer. Still and dark. Aunt Hannah sliced a banana so thin on the post toasties, it looks cold and wet and slimy. She doesn't say eat or don't gobble. She doesn't say anything. Fried eggs have hardly any pepper, and they're so soft the yellow runs out over the white, and the white plate. It looks so nasty I don't want to eat it. But I eat it because I don't want to be told to. Mother said he wasn't coming home ever anymore. That's what she said, but why isn't he home eating breakfast right this minute? Because he's dead, that's why. He got hurt bad, Mama said. Like the rabbits. Poor little things, bloody fur and red insides. My daddy can't be like that. Maybe in just a minute he'll walk right in and say, "Good morning, honeybee." But he won't. He won't come home ever anymore. He's in heaven where God lives up in the sky. Why'd he do that? God took him there. But why'd he go there and not come home like Mama promised? She promised he'd be here at breakfast time, and now it's breakfast time, and she says he won't come home ever again.
I think you ought to know about your father anything I can tell you because your mother isn't feeling well.
Lord.
Why, Rufus, nobody hurt him? What on earth made you think so?
Mama said he got hurt so bad, and that's why he can't come home anymore.
I see. Well, it's true that he was hurt, but nobody hurt him. He was driving home by himself. All by himself in the automobile last night, and he had an accident, a fatal accident. That means that, like your mother told you, God put him to sleep right away. That's what your mother means. God put him to sleep and took his soul with him. That's why he can't come home. We'll see him once more tomorrow or the day after. But he'll be asleep then. And after that, we won't see him anymore in this world, not until God takes us away too. Well, Rufus, I don't know the story of your rabbits, but I will tell you what I know about your father. He was driving home last night about 9, and apparently something was already wrong with the steering the wheel that you guide the machine with. But your father didn't know it. He couldn't know it until something went wrong, and then it was too late. Well, one of the wheels hit a stone on the road, and the wheel turned aside. And your father, well, the auto ran off the road into a ditch. Do you understand? The auto went on without your father. Your father was thrown from the auto. The auto went right up an 8-foot embankment. They believe he was hurt right here. Your father struck his chin very hard on the steering wheel. And from that instant, he never knew anything more. Yes, Rufus, he did. They believe he was instantly killed. Sometimes people can die instantly like that if they're struck just in that place. Concussion of the brain, it's called. Now do you understand? I know it's very hard to understand. But you please tell me if there's anything you want to know, and I will do my best to tell you better. Concussion, Rufus. Concussion of the brain, that's the doctor's name for what happened. It's as if the brain were hit very hard and suddenly and joggled loose. And the instant that happens, your father was... Yes. No, not God. What is it? Why, Rufus, you're not going to school?
I can stay out of school.
You must. Today and tomorrow for a sufficient time. Now put up your things and you stay right here in this house.
Son?
Daddy's dead.
You mean that sure enough?
Died last night when I was asleep, and now I can't come home ever anymore.
Where do you live, Sonny? Your folks know you out here wandering around? You better just go on in the house. Go on! Get in. What do you think your daddy think you out here telling folks how he's dead?
Chelsea do with a drunken sailor. That's what drunk is. And he was got no sense at all? He was instantly killed. He didn't have to feel any pain. Never even know what hit him. That's what my dad says. Reckon that old Tim Lizzie's done for, huh, Rufus? So, more dry eyes than old Tim Lizzie, huh, Rufus? That's about. Come on, we're gonna get hell! Let's go!
Rufus, Father, where on earth have you been?
Outdoors.
Where outdoors? I've been looking for you all over the place.
Just out back in the alley.
Did you hear me call and I shouted till my voice was hoarse? Now you listen to me carefully. You stay right here in this house. Do you understand? I don't want to give you a spanking on this day of all days. If I have to, I will give you a spanking that you will remember to your dying day. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Now, if you don't obey, I'll turn you over to your Uncle Andrew. We'll see what he'll do about this. Shall I? Shall I call him? All right, but this is my last warning. Now, you stay quiet. Don't disturb your mother. Read some books, look at pictures, but you just be quiet and good. Do you hear me?
Anybody ought to know it's me. Never even knew what hit him. Shut your goddamn mouth. Ain't you got no sense at all? Instantly killed. Concussion, that's it. Concussion to the brain. Knocked him crazy as a loon. Shut your goddamn mouth. Old Tim Lizzie, that's what you get for driving an auto drunk. Good old whiskey. Whoa! Didn't either. Not loud enough. Struck on the chin. Heck, how can that kill anybody? Did though. Instantly killed. How would your daddy like it? Like what? Going out in the street like that. Going out in the street like what? Go showing off to people because he's dead. He wants me to. Bragging because he's dead. He wants me to get along with him. There's no way to hide from the soul. God took his soul. There's no way to talk to it either. It just knows.
No chilling winds nor poisonous breath can reach that helpful shore. Sickness and sorrow, pain and death are felt and heard no more. When shall I reach that happy place and be forever blessed? When shall I see my Father's face and in his bosom rest? Filled with delight, my raptured soul can here no longer stay. Roll Jordan's waves around me, roll. For this I long joy.
I'm getting it, Mary. Hello? Yes? Yes? Father? Yes. As well as could be expected? Yes? I'll tell her. The Highland Avenue line. Transferred the Highland... Yes, Father. We'll be waiting. Thank you. Goodbye. Now you're tired. Mary?
Yes?
Rufus is ready.
Yes, Hannah, thank you. Oh, he looks very nice, Hannah. Thank you so much. Here, darling. There we are. Mother's here. Mother's wanted to see you much more these last several days. She just couldn't. Do you know how much Mother loves you?
with all her heart and soul, all her life. Now I want to tell you about Daddy, Rufus, because this morning we're all going down to Grandma and Grandpa Lynch's and see him once more and tell him goodbye. No, darling. It's not going to be like you think. That's what I want to tell you about. You understand what happened to Daddy in his automobile, don't you? God took him away from us very quickly, away to heaven, and you know, when you go to heaven, you can never come back. Daddy's soul will always be thinking of us, just as we will always think of him. And someday, if we're very good when God comes for us, he'll take us to heaven too, and we'll see Daddy there, and we'll all be together again, forever and ever. But will we see Daddy today, Rufus? His soul won't be there. It'll just be Daddy's body. He'll seem like you've always seen him, except because his soul has been taken away, he's going to be lying down. And he's going to lie very still. It'll be just as if he were asleep. So you must be very quiet not to wake him, just like you didn't want to wake him, like he were asleep. Daddy may seem a little strange to you because he's so still, but that's just the way he's got to look. Just a minute. Now, you run down and you be good and quiet and you don't make anybody for your Aunt Hannah because she's been so good to us and she's worn out.
Mama, am I an orphan now?
An orphan?
We haven't got a ma or a pa because they lost in the war. You're an orphan, and the children are forced to stay.
No, darling, you're not an orphan. Orphans haven't got a mother or a father, nobody to take care of them and love them. That's why the children in school send them things. But you have a mother, so you're not an orphan. Do you see? Don't you be sorry you're not an orphan. You be thankful. Orphans seem lucky to you because they are far away and in a war, but they are very, very unhappy little children because nobody loves them. Now, do you understand? Now, you run along. Mother's got to finish dressing.
Dad is dead. Mom's not, though. Only Daddy. One is dead. 1 and 1 makes 2. Half of 2 is 1. So I'm half an orphan no matter what. Better than nothing.
Come on. You're Rufus. Now, come here.
Father, come right in. Mary isn't quite ready yet. If you wouldn't mind waiting.
Oh, that's fine. Is she?
Yes.
But does she?
I'm afraid not, Father. I wasn't sure enough to tell her myself. I'm sorry to burden you with it, but I felt I should leave it to you.
You're right, Miss Lynch, absolutely.
Now, if you wouldn't mind waiting, we'll just wait with Father. Excuse me.
Children must not stare at their elders, that is ill-bred. Say, sir, I beg your pardon, father. Let's not stare at people. Look at them the way you're looking at me. Too soon to learn to be a little gentleman now, is it? Consider that a thoroughly uncivil answer to a civil question. You agree, you say, yes, father. Little boy, this is neither the time or place for reprimands. I want to tell you.
You can come up, Father.
This must wait. Another time. Miss Father, may the Lord be with you in your time of loss.
Thank you, Father.
I'm sure we have to discuss some things about the funeral arrangements for all able. It's my understanding that your husband, Hugh, is it? Is not baptized into our church. They won't be able to perform the full burial service over him today.
Walter, I hope you know how much all you're doing means to us. Mary isn't ready yet. Just have a seat. Rufus, you know Walter? Mr. Starr?
Well, of course he does. Hey, why don't you come on over here? You sit with me after your mother's ready. So you're coming down and visiting with us? What, did your mama say anything about maybe you coming down sometime and paying me Miss Starr a visit? Oh, well, now there's lots of time for that. Say, you ever hear a gramophone?
She can't hardly hear what she does.
Leg?
Uncle Andrew says she spays even a child.
Who?
Grandma, when she phones like you said.
Oh, now let's see. Now let's reason this. Now, I begin to see how we both got a bit in a muddle. Well, you never heard of the thing I was talking about. It does sound mighty like grandma phone. Of course, natural. But what I was talking about was a nice box that music comes out of. You ever hear music come out of a box? Well, now, down home, believe it or not, we got one. You like to hear it sometime? Yeah, good. We'll see if that can be arranged. Now, let me tell you what they call this box. It sounds a lot like grandma phone, but it's a little different. Gramophone. Can you say it? Well, that's fine.
I can say lots of other big words like the primordial beast.
Well, now, that's mighty smart.
I could say that when I was 4. My cousin Jim Wilson, he's 5 and he can't even say it now.
Well, now, some people learn a little quicker than others. It's nice to learn fast, but it's nice to take your time, too. What does this word primordial mean?
I don't know, but it's nice and scary.
I suppose it does have sort of a scary sound. Well, now that you can say it, you ought to find out what it means sometime.
What does it mean?
Well, I don't know, really. But then I don't say it. We don't have occasion. You're a fine little boy. It's not nice to lord it over your little cousin like that.
What's Florida?
Brag about things you can do that others can't do yet. That's not nice. All right, so you watch it, don't do it. Can I tell you something? You might not understand it now, but I have to. My heart's full. It's you I want to tell. It's about your daddy. You never got a real chance to know him. Can I tell you? Some people have a hard time. Scarcely enough food. Your dad started like that. He didn't have one thing. He had to work till it practically killed him for every little thing he ever got. Somehow, I never got a chance to know Jay, your father, as well as I wish. I don't think he ever knew how much I thought of him. Well, I thought the world of him. I'm a pretty ordinary man myself. Some people, they get where they hope in this world. Some of us don't. Most of us don't. But there never was a man who tried harder than your father and hoped for more. He wanted a good life and good understanding for himself and for everybody. There never was a braver man than your father, or a man that was kinder or more generous. Now, they don't make them. All I wanted to tell you, Rufus, is that your daddy was one of the finest men that ever lived. There. There now. There.
I have fever.
What is it, Mary? Is it the baby? Why don't you sit down? There's no rush.
Let's go to lie down for a while.
No. No, I want to go now. Thank you. Come, Rufus. It's time.
There it was. It's Grandma and Grandpa's fireplace. Very long and dark. Smooth like a boat. Dark handles. Half the top was open. There was his head, his arms, his suit. There he was. The arm was bent. Out of the dark suit, the starched cuff, sprang the hairy wrist. The wrist was angled. The hand was arched. None of the fingers touched each other. The hand was so composed that it seemed at once casual and majestic. Stood exactly above the center of his body. The fingers looked unusually clean and dry, as if they had been scrubbed with great care. The hand looked very strong, and the veins were strong in it. Nostrils were very dark, yet something could be seen in them which looked of cotton. On the lower lip, just a trifle left of its middle, was a small blue line. The exact point of the chin, there was just another small blue mark, straight and neat as might be drawn by a pencil, scarcely wider. Lines which formed the wings of the nose and mouth were almost gone. The hair was most carefully brushed. The eyelids were quietly and casually closed. The head was lifted on a white satin pillow. Dead. Dead. Solemn wonder tolled like the shuddering of a prodigious bell.
service over James since he'd never been baptized. He said he's deeply sorry, but it's simply a rule of the church. Some church.
Calls himself a Christian. Goddamn piety. Bury a man 100 times better than he'll ever be.
Papa, look. Beats the Holy Family.
Mr. Stout will take you to Chris' house as he told you. You'd be good and have enough time to bring him back to Mother this afternoon. You're ready, Walter. Bless you.
Maybe you want to see him. Maybe not, but you might be glad later on. You better go now. You better not say anything about this. No. You do as you think best.
Most thankfully we pray for that Holy Church Universal, that it may be so guided and governed by thy good spirit that all those who profess and call themselves Christians
Don't you fret,
may be
John
led
Henry.
to the way
Don't
of
you
truth
fret,
and hope
boy.
and faith in the unity that's going to become upon
Poor boy.
Pity's sake,
Mary, let's
Catherine.
just stop it.
No,
Man, I'll take care of it.
you,
Don't
I needed
trouble yourself. Don't trouble
Let's
yourself.
stop it now.
No, it happens. I don't think I can bear it all.
God bless you. There.
Oh, just a minute. I'll be all right. I'll be all right.
Come for a walk with me. If anything ever made me believe in God or life after that, it'll be what happened this afternoon. There were a lot of clouds, but they were blowing fast, so there was a lot of sunshine, too. Just as they were lowering your father into the ground, into his grave, a cloud came over and there was a shadow like iron, and a perfectly magnificent butterfly just settled on the coffin. Just rested there, just barely making his wings breathe like a heart. He stayed there all the way down, Rufus. He never moved except to make his wings move that way until it grated against the bottom like a rowboat. And when it did that, the sun came out just dazzling bright, and that butterfly shot out of that hole in the ground and went straight up into the sky, so high I couldn't even see him anymore. Don't you think that's wonderful, Rufus? If there are any such things as miracles, then it surely must be miraculous. That butterfly has more God in him than that priest Jackson will see for the rest of eternity.
All the way home, we walked in silence. We are talking now of summer evenings in Knoxville, Tennessee. On a the rough wet grass of the backyard, my father and mother had spread quilts. We all lie there. My mother, my father, my uncles, my aunts, my grandmother, my grandfather, and I too am lying there. All my people are larger bodies than mine. Quiet, voices gentle and meaningless, like the voices of sleeping birds. One is my mother, who is good to me. One is my father, who is good to me. By some chance, here they are, all on this earth. Who shall ever tell the sorrow of being on this earth? Lying on quilts, on the grass, in a summer's evening, among the sounds of the night. May God bless my people, my mother, my good father. Remember them kindly in their time of trouble and in the hour of their taking away.